was wrong. They shouldn't have did that to you in the first place. No, you're the captain of your fate. That's what you are. At least that's what I want you to be if you're up in here, man. I need you to start understanding ways you can actually have a role in shaping your outcome. And this is hard. This is really hard because I get so much pushback from people who think I'm being an uppity Negro by saying that we can take charge of these things. They think that I'm out of touch and I don't understand what it's like to be. No, I overstand what it's like to be a slave because I was one. And I'm the Harriet Tubman. I'm coming up in there with the shotgun, like, okay, either you're going to come along or we're going to leave you. But if you try to disrupt, I might have to cock and aim and take you out. I don't want to do that. I don't want to, who wants to do that? But literally, you get the Negro naysayers who are in your ear, who are telling you that none of this is possible. There's something wrong with you for thinking that you can actually create a good life for yourself, who actually think that it's illogical and impossible for Black people to have a wealth strategy. Those are people that you have to sort of push aside, put them out of your consciousness because they're going to disrupt what you're trying to do. They're going to poison the well, so to speak. Now if they come along and they say, hey, I'd like to learn, I'd like to get better, then you welcome them with open arms. You teach them everything you know. Again, I mentioned to you guys, I don't really teach any students. I have zero students. I have no students. I don't teach students. I only teach teachers. And that includes your 4-year-old. If your 4-year-old is learning this stuff in here, some of y'all got the children in here, which is exactly what you should be doing. If your 4-year-old is learning about wealth, I want them teaching the other kids at the daycare. Do you understand? I want them taking the freaking lead. I want to create the next Harriet Tubman, the next Martin Luther King, right? The next all these things that we want, the next Malcolm X. That's what we're building here. All right. So when people say, "Do you know AI?" You shouldn't say, I know AI. You should say, I've known AI because I know it and I own it, right? You own the companies and you know the technologies. That makes sense. Put the word known in the chat. Put the word known in decay. And I want to emphasize this point. This is going to be our word known. I've known AI. All right, good, good, good. That means you know it and you're making money from it. And remember, to make money from AI, it doesn't mean learning a skill and then getting someone to hire you to do that skill. That's part of it for sure. There's money in that for sure. But sometimes you just own the damn company and not have a damn clue what the company's doing. Do you know how many companies I own where literally if you're like, Boyce, you made $80,000 from that company. What do they do? I might be like, I'm not sure. Um, I'm not sure. Just have so many white people that work for me. I just don't know which ones are doing what. Well, where's their headquarters located? Oh no, I on my app. They're on Robinhood. What? Boys, you owned the firm for years, and you made $50,000 from a firm this year. Tell us about who's the CEO of a firm. Oh no, how am I supposed to keep up with all the people that work for me? I can't. I got too many people. I don't know, man. So really, you ain't got to know all that stuff. Take the pressure off. Take the pressure off. I believe in this kind of like deductive learning style where sometimes we make stuff super complicated and sometimes it has to be. I'm not saying the complication in itself can't be valuable, right? Just like labor, it can be valuable for sure. But just because something's complicated doesn't make it better, and just because you work hard at it doesn't mean it's more effective. I remember I heard that statement for the first time from a guy who was on the faculty at Northwestern University. I don't remember his name, but he was giving a speech to us. We were all PhD students, and he was some dude. He looked really young. He was probably in his 30s. He looked like he was in his 20s, but he was kicking ass. He was really good. He had tenure at Northwestern, which is really hard to do. And I remember him saying something that really just hit me. He said, just because you worked hard at something doesn't mean that it's more effective. Or just because you worked hard at it doesn't mean it's good. Just because you spent 80 hours doing something doesn't mean that that was the best approach. And that led me to really value simplicity. And so what I would say is to you, keep things simple for yourself. Right? Don't feel that that everything has to be just crazy complex and hard. The real genius is not being able to navigate through the weeds of complex, extremely complex ideas. The real genius that's going to emerge in you is when you can say, if I do this one thing, that's going to change everything. Right? It's not 50 things, it's one thing, right?